Hello and Namaste. Before I begin, I request you to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon for reminders. You will be notified whenever I post a new video. You will find interesting insights on temple art, literature and philosophy on this channel. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita can be broadly divided into two halves. The first half is a description of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the second half is Arjuna's mental breakdown. He expresses his grief, confusion, and helplessness to Krishna. That's why this chapter is titled Arjuna Vishada, Arjuna's grief. It has led many people to conclude that the first chapter is not really consequential. It only sets the stage. The actual teaching begins when Krishna starts speaking in the second chapter. This is not true. There are several valuable lessons in this chapter. The first verse of Bhagavad Gita is a question which the blind king Dhritarashtra asks his charioteer Sanjaya. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. What are my sons and the sons of Pandu doing in the battlefield of Kurukshetra? It's a straightforward question, but there is a message hidden in it. Let me ask you something. Who do you think is most responsible for this bloody war of Kurukshetra? No, it is not Duryodhana. The person most responsible for this war is the blind king Dhritarashtra. His blindness is a metaphor for his mental, intellectual, and spiritual blindness. He is blinded by his attachment for his son. This attachment is so all-consuming that it makes him forget all his other responsibilities. He is disabled by this attachment, as it were. He is unable to function as a king or even as a human being with conscience. You can see this blindness in the way he frames this question. What are my sons and sons of Pandu doing in the battlefield? If you recall the Mahabharata, the Pandavas lost their father at a very young age. They were in the care of their uncle Dhritarashtra since then. They grew up along with his own children in his home. This huge war is about to begin and he has no idea who is going to live or die. At such a crucial moment, when most people tend to introspect, he cannot bring himself to ask, what are my sons doing in the battlefield? His heart is so small that it is unable to accommodate even his brother's children as his own. With this first verse, Vedavyasa establishes the root cause of samsara, attachments. We often think of attachment as a good thing. It is celebrated as an expression of love. Bhagavad Gita, however, makes a clear distinction between attachment and love. Attachment comes from a sense of limitedness. I feel incomplete, so I try to make myself complete by adding things to my life. If I buy a house, I'll become complete. If I marry, I'll become complete. If I have children, I'll become complete. If I get a promotion, I become complete. Although none of these remove my sense of want or sense of limitedness, I cling on to them. This is attachment. It has nothing to do with love. Attachment springs from ahankara, the ego. It is about me and what is mine. Love comes from the opposite place. In love, there is no ego. It springs from a place of completeness. You are brimming with contentment and joy and you want to share it with others. That is love. Love is not dependence. Love is never a need. This kind of love is very rare. That is why we often confuse attachment with love. The first verse of Bhagavad Gita is a warning. Look at what attachments can do to you. See where it leads you. Beware of it. In case you're thinking, okay, Dhritarashtra was a bad man, so his attachments made him do bad things. Not everyone is like that. Then Gita asks us to look at Arjuna, a good man, a righteous man, a man who knows Dharma. See what attachments do to him. It makes him forget that this war is not personal. He is not fighting this to acquire a kingdom. This is a righteous war, a Dharma Yuddham. This is a fight between good and evil. As a warrior, it is his duty to fight such a war. But Arjuna makes it all about himself. The first word he utters is Swajanam. Drishtvaimam Swajanam Krishna. These are my people, Krishna. How can I live without them? Just the thought of it is unbearable. One of the first consequences of attachments is sorrow. So the first thing that Arjuna feels is grief. This is followed by another dangerous thing called moham or delusion. Moham is the inability to distinguish right from wrong. It leads you to make wrong choices, which further aggravates the situation. As Arjuna speaks, you can see him make this journey from attachment to sorrow to delusion. His descent into moham is best illustrated by these words. Papamevashraye dasman hatvaitan atatayinaha. I will only incur sin by killing these atatayi. Atatayi is a technical word used in Dharma Shastra for people who commit 5 terrible sins. These sins are considered so egregious that even if you commit one of it, you should be put to death. It is a duty of a Kshatriya to kill such a person. Duryodhana has committed not just one, but all the 5 sins. Arjuna is a learned man, well versed in Dharma Shastra. He knows this, but his moham has overpowered him so much that he tells Lord Krishna of all people that killing an atatayi will make him a sinner. He continues to enumerate the evils of war to Lord Krishna, who is the very embodiment of Dharma. Moreover, it was Krishna and Yudhishthira who tried their best to prevent this war when Arjuna and his brothers were itching for it. They tried their best to negotiate with Duryodhana. They decided to go to war only as a last resort. Arjuna's delusion overpowers him so much that he is unable to remember any of it. This is the main lesson of the first chapter of Gita. Know that attachments are dangerous. It is the root cause of samsara. Once you let your attachments overpower you, they will lead you down the path of fear, sorrow, anger, and delusion. They will lead you to your downfall. It is a tough lesson to absorb. Even as you are listening to this, can you feel your resistance building? Attachments are what give purpose to my life. It is what makes my life worth living. How can you say attachments are the cause of all my problems? It is hard even to entertain this thought. Gita does not ask you to give up your attachments. That is a lifelong process. It asks you to at least acknowledge that it is a problem. The first step to getting over an addiction is to acknowledge that it is a problem, isn't it? No cure is possible until that happens. That is why this chapter is titled Arjuna Vishada Yoga, not just Arjuna Vishada. It is not only about Arjuna's sorrow, it is about the lessons we can learn from his sorrow. That's it from me. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please let me know by pressing the like icon. Share it with like-minded people. Until next time, Namaste.